When I approach the helicopter, that's when my pre-flight inspection starts. Looking for any drips underneath, looking at the main rotor blades, looking at the tail, looking at the skids, checking everything out before I dive in and look at the individual parts. Once I get inside the helicopter, I start my flow. It's a little carryover from when I used to fly at the airlines. I find it's nice to have a pattern that you habitually do over and over again, and then you won't miss anything. Then back it up with your checklist before you go flying. First thing I do when I get inside the helicopter is back off the frictions on the collective and the cyclic. I move the cyclic around, make sure it has a full range of motion, no obstructions. I'm going to do the same thing with the collective. I'm going to lift it up. I like to look at the main rotor blade and make sure it's pitching while I do that. The collective up, you see it pitch up, collective down, see it pitch down. Then I'm going to leave it in a down and off position. That's a very important part right there. If you start this helicopter like this, you can have an overspeed, and that's a quick way to spend a lot of money. So make sure it is in the off, right past the detent, and let it roll back all the way down. You'll also hear that micro switch when you move it up and down. Then I tighten up the frictions. I'm going to check the fuel, make sure it's on. Make sure that, again, it's down, off. I leave my governor on. I check the ELT switch, check the cabin heats off, frictions on. I like to put this to volts for when I'm starting. Landing light off. So when I get up to this part of the cyclic, I check the maximum manifold pressure that I can use today. 2,000 feet, 0 degrees is 21.8. Allowed to use for takeoff another 2.8. So that's 24.6. I don't know about you, but I cannot tell the difference between 24.6 and 24.5. So I'm just going to use 24.5 for today, which is just right there. Never exceed speed for today. 2,000 feet, 0 degrees. I'm up at 130. I don't have to subtract 10 knots today because I am under 2,200 pounds. Next, I'm going to check that the hydraulic switch is on. I come up, make sure that the air conditioning is off, rotor brake is in, and that the lights are turned off. Come down to the circuit breaker panel. Here I do a visual and tactile. I look to see that there's none that have popped, and I'm also feeling to make sure that they haven't. From the circuit breaker panel, make my way up to the instrument panel. I'm going to look from left to right across it. I'm going to set my altimeter. I'm going to set my DG with my compass. And then I'm going to check this again after I power it up. Manifold pressure should be up. Needles should be dropped. Then I'm going to turn my nav and strobe lights off, confirm that the clutch is off, alternator off, battery master off. Here I get things ready by putting this to both and confirming that the fuel is out. Now I'm going to pull out my checklist. So before starting engine checklist, seatbelts have been fastened, fuel shutoff valve was on, the cyclic and collection friction went off, the cyclic, collective, and pedals were full travel and free, the throttle was full travel free, the collective went down, the friction back on, and the cyclic was neutral with the friction back on. Pedals are neutral. Rotor brake disengaged. Circuit breakers are in. Landing light is off. Avionics switch is not installed, so it's off. Clutch is disengaged. Altimeter set, and hydraulic and governor switches are on.